welcome y'all to Backwoods Obscura, a podcast dedicated to the lore, legends, and myths surrounding the creatures that may lurk in your backyard. My name's Hewitt.
I'm Chris.
Hey, bud. How you doing?
It's been a year.
It has, but hey, you want to know make you feel a little bit better?
What?
I bought new power tools to keep making Christmas gifts.
That's for you. That's not for me.
Yeah,
that's for you.
But you'll be happy with the gift you get.
Will I, though?
Yes.
Oh, if I'm happy with it. Look, in all seriousness, between like the election and personal reasons this year, I'm ready for 2025, as probably as bad as it's going to be. By the way, here on Backwoods Obscura, we probably made our political beliefs known. And
not super psyched.
Yeah, so if you're not, any 5 of you that are listening right now, if you don't want to hear us shit on like the next administration, you might not want to listen to us.
No, don't say that. Look, if you're conservative, that's perfectly fine. Just realize that you might have buyer's remorse is where I stand. And the other way I'm going to put it is I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to pitch a fit. I'm going to survive this like I have many, many crappy things before.
We do live in Louisiana. We're pretty known for having corrupt politicians.
Yeah,
so.
I'm just going to put it this way. First glance at the moment that we are staring at right now, we have dealt with the equivalent. I'm not going to say less. I'm not going to say worse, but we've dealt with the equivalent. Now, as a teacher, if they mess with a couple things, my opinion might change in the future because the person that was appointed, I have watched get DDT'd by Kane, who is also an extremely conservative governor of a town, or mayor of a town in Tennessee.
Now, look, the main thing I'm worried about is measles coming back.
Okay, legitimate. I wasn't going to go that way because I didn't want to depress myself, and we need to change subjects. So,
look,
let me go. Let me just say this: the worst thing that has happened so far in 2024 is we no longer have Dewey with us now.
Rest in peace, Dewey.
Yeah, my little 14, nearly 15-year-old weenie dog had to cross the Rainbow Bridge because of heart failure, and that has been the hardest thing to deal with in 2024 so far. Like up until November, 2024 was not that bad for me.
It's been a constant, like for me at least. I know it not for you. Aside from which still hit me because like I've known Dewey.
Emily and I got Dewey a month after we got married. Like, not even a month. Like 2 weeks after we got married, we got him. And then
I was hanging out with you for a bit. Like, we known each other since we were in high school, but
like we didn't hang out until our 20s. But I mean, like, so Em and I got married in June. Got Dewey a couple weeks. Went on our honeymoon. Got Dewey like the second or third week of July. And then I was in Indiana for my brother-in-law's funeral, and then back for my grandmother's funeral. Like the first month of my marriage was
just
honeymoon, puppy, everybody's dead.
But let's get on to something lighter. So this episode, I decided to, I was going to do something bigger, but I listened to the Cresu episode. I listen to every episode because I'm the editor.
I listen to them so that we can get views.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I mean, we're actually getting decent views.
Oh, nice. I have not looked at any analytics.
I say decent, quote-unquote, views because they're usually... I mean, it's like 10 to 15 people, but, that's good for me. I'm glad there's, like, some people out there.
Hey, our little, small, close-knit family, we love you.
Yeah, and, like, the RSS even tells me how many might be bots, and it's usually very low.
Oh,
that's good.
Hey, also, because I'm still assuming Tony listens, we love you, Tony.
Love you, Tony. Love you, Chance. Love you, anyone else in Europe that's listening to us. Y'all are awesome.
Also, love you, Trip, if you're listening to this while you're mowing or preparing for your next Dresden Files game.
But I've been busy and I've been dealing with a lot of things, so I decided to go something light because with the Creusot episode, it was right after my dad's funeral, and I just had that episode on the burner for a while and didn't look at it.
You mean like I had Walking Sam bottled up for a while?
Yeah. But the thing is, Walking Sam, and if this comes out before Walking Sam, that one was a little bit more visceral. Creusot was more, like, silly. Okay, even if it was gory, it was still silly.
Do you remember a movie that had the dude that played Bill from Bill and Ted, and, like, there were really gross, like, rat rod style monsters?
Yeah.
Oh, God, what was that called? Somebody's Freaky Friends or something like that. Like, that's the Creusot. Like, the Creusot was, like, comically gross.
And, like, I realized, like, after that episode, I don't want to do anything too big. I'm rambling now. I decided to continue the Lafitte sort of episodes and go with Cafe Lafitte in Exile.
Ooh.
Yeah, so some of the stuff from this episode we kind of discussed in the blacksmith shop episode.
This is where Chris is going to edit back in that.
What?
Oh, no, he didn't do it. Like, he didn't edit back in a previous episode for a flashback.
I'm not doing that. That's too much.
Future Chris, why? It would have been a perfect link up.
Future Chris isn't going to do it. Me and Future Chris are not on the same wavelength, but we will be up for this. Okay.
So, last time on Backwoods Obscura.
I mean, last time as in, like, a few episodes ago. But Cafe Lafitte in Exile is a gay bar in New Orleans and claims to be the oldest gay bar in the United States. Now, the other oldest gay bar in the United States is one in California called the White Horse Inn, which officially opened at the same time in 1933, which is right after Prohibition. But the White Horse Inn, yeah, you're squeaking.
I'm sorry, I'm not putting my elbows on the table no more.
Yeah, and fortunately we're not. We had the microphone in a different spot, so hopefully it's not.
It's still picking it up, though. However, I think the White Horse... I've heard about it might be something else, but I feel like I've heard about the White Horse Inn for something with, like, obscure knowledge or with, like, ghosts or something.
Maybe. I only looked a little bit into it. I did a cursory search. The main reason why the White Horse Inn says it's older than Cafe Lafitte in Exile is because it said to be a speakeasy before it was an official bar. So if you want to go with, like, who's the real oldest one, I think they're about the same age. I don't think it matters that much.
You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the oldest gay bar in the United States is more than likely one that does not want to be pretentious enough to claim that it is, and is probably established by a founding father that did not want to say shit.
It's actually... Okay, so I actually...
Monticello.
God damn it.
No.
I actually looked at some of the old...
Damn it.
God damn it. I am so sorry, people at home. We're having to use the blue.
We're still using the blue at this point because we haven't bought a new soundboard.
Unless this is the first episode I debut. I don't know how I'm going to debut these. This might be the first episode with the
blue.
The snowball. Our soundboard died. Cool. It's right here.
It died. It died like right before we recorded.
It did. But so
my child wept for it.
So after Prohibition in 1933, Cafe Lafitte, then known as Cafe Lafitte, opened up in what is now the Lafitte's blacksmith shop.
Mm-hmm. I want to do something with my hands and I can't.
You just gotta, like, go like this.
Chris, that looks inappropriate from my angle.
Shut up. So, like I was saying,
just
a
do
lot
this,
of...
like you just do this.
Oh, yeah. Just grab the breasts. God damn.
Your own.
God, okay, I said this was going to be a small episode, and we're just going off the rails.
Well, if you get a handful, I don't know if it's small or not.
Okay, because of the Prohibition, long-running bars, like you would see in Europe, are much more rare than they are here. So, even if you were to be like, oh yeah, there's long-running bars here. I mean, Cafe Lafitte is probably about as old as your normal bar.
Well,
our normal older bar.
Well, let's be honest. Long in the United States or old in the United States is a relative term, because I have literally drank in a bar in London older than the United States that has been owned by the same family that entire time. Like,
right.
I've been to locations like I ended up going to a restaurant in France and getting kicked out of that restaurant in France in 2003 when I was not supposed to be in France. I was supposed to be at a rugby match with everybody else, but they said I couldn't leave the hotel, but there was a subway station that connected to the Channel station, and I never went above ground until I got to France. So technically I didn't leave the hotel until I was in France. Yeah, I totally went to another country unattended. But that's been like 20 years, so. No, what I'm saying is, I've been kicked out of a restaurant that's older than our country over there. So, saying something's old here versus old somewhere else, like old here is like Enoch's in our town is old. And it's not even its original location, but Enoch's has run for about 50 years. That's an old pub in our town. Right.
And that's what I was saying. It's like 1933, continuously running, at least on Bourbon Street. Cafe Lafitte in Exile is a fairly old bar for the United States in general, not just as a gay bar. So back in these days, like in 1933, there wasn't really a concept of a gay bar because there were, things like sodomy laws and indecency laws that discriminated.
The adult version of me goes, yes, because they didn't want to be out about this. And then the child version of me, because they hadn't invented it yet.
They haven't invented the gay yet.
That's a post-1950s. No, it's not. It's not.
But yeah, back in those days, because of like certain laws, and honestly, as bad as it's gotten now, it was a lot worse then.
Let's be honest. Right now, it is highly uncomfortable to low-level dangerous. Sodomy laws in the state of Louisiana in the 1950s and 1960s were punishable by death. Look, we had sodomy laws on the book until the Supreme Court decision that allowed same-sex marriage in 2014.
Yeah,
was that the Hogden? Look, I'm a civics teacher, and I can't remember the dates for Supreme Court cases.
You're asking the high school dropout.
But the thing is that we had sodomy laws still technically enforceable on the books into this century and almost into the first term of the unfortunate incumbent president. That's how long to make sure everybody understands that.
I mean, we can go into like just how depressing some of the South can be in terms of trying to get shit off the books. Like Mississippi having slavery in your constitution until like 2013. What the fuck?
1992.
No, it was...
No, Louisiana, 1992.
Oh, Louisiana, 1992. I was alive for both of those. Anyway.
By the way, until 1993, you could challenge someone for trial by combat in the state of Louisiana.
Tom Kaplinger, Harold Bartell, and Mary Collins were the founder of Cafe Lafitte, although the main one we're going to be talking about is Tom Kaplinger because he's usually the one that's mentioned.
Yes.
And these three people, this trio that started the bar, unlike a lot of people in New Orleans, were very laissez-faire about their patrons. They're very nice people. Like, you come in there, you're gay, you're lesbian, you're transgender. They don't care. You're there to give them patronage.
Your money spins.
Yeah. And even then, they were the type of people that, like, if people were down on their luck and just needed a place to, drown away their sorrows a bit, but didn't have the coin for it.
They took care of them?
They took care of them. They would, put tabs aside.
So hold on, they're like, life sucks, I know. Your tab's thrown in the trash can,
they didn't throw away the tabs. They apparently kept them in a box.
Oh, it's like, hey, buddy, you owe me, but you know what? You'll get me when you get me, and it's fine. We love you. Is that the situation?
Essentially. And this sort of affability and their sort of acceptance of the LGBT community, not necessarily on purpose, but just because they were like, yeah, they're people. Let them come in.
Lo and behold, the gays are people.
Yeah, they were like, wow, they are not just homosexual, they are homo sapien. Come on in.
Maybe I need to change some of my pre-taught positions about this situation.
At least with Tom Kaplinger, it seemed like he was probably pretty cool. Like, I could only find a little bit about him, but it seemed like he was a decent dude. But unfortunately, about 20 years into the operation of the bar, the owner of the building itself, not the bar, but the building, John Barb had passed away, and the trio was not able to get the
funds to buy the spot.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Now, so ironically, all the tabs that they let go. Apparently, there was a big box once the new owner found it. Mm-hmm. It was enough, about $42,000 worth of tabs that they could have used to buy the building at the auction.
Can I interest you in a bunch of unpaid tabs to buy our residence?
Now that's one of the stories I hear, and I think even if it was 42,000, it probably wouldn't have helped.
Dude, I don't think that's true at all. But you know what? I really love that as an element of this story, so I'm going to say, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, they were just so fucking charitable that they accidentally
fucked themselves out of their location.
So. Bad news for them, for Kaplinger and company. So even worse, the new owners of the bar were homophobic dickheads, and they decided, yeah, no, y'all can't come here. So Kaplinger and co. decided to start looking around and try to find a new place. And find a new place they did. It was actually also on Bourbon Street. Now, I didn't say earlier, but both, if you listen to the other episode, Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop and Cafe Lafitte on Exile are both on Bourbon Street. They just literally went down the street and have a corner place. I can't remember the other street, but it's...
they're close to Esplanade. The closer to Esplanade you get on Bourbon, the more fabulous Bourbon Street gets, and the better the drinks... Okay, I am a 6-foot-ish, slightly furry dude. Like, I'm a heavy-set furball.
Right.
For the most part. Which might affect why I get free drinks on that end of Bourbon Street.
But they found a place just down the street, and they decided, of course, it's Cafe Lafitte, but now it's in Exile. Kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing.
I so much love that name.
It's such a great name.
The next time we go to NOLA, we have to go there.
Just go in there and be like, no, guys, we just have a paranormal podcast.
We got a big ghost podcast, guys.
We got a big ghost podcast. There's so much ectoplasm.
Look, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. I've walked into bars on that end of Bourbon Street, and if you put your money on the table, they will give you a drink. They will wink at you, much like every bartender will wink at you. And you will go on about your day because New Orleans is one of the cities that if you're in the French Quarter, you can open carry your alcohol anywhere. And they will not say anything.
So, the official reopening of the bar happened in 1953 with an invite-only party. And all the people dressed up as their favorite, quote, exiles. That would be like Napoleon Bonaparte or Dante. Are Oscar Wilde. And apparently, I read this on a few things I didn't know. It didn't really say the context, but I assume the context is because it's considered a gay bar at this point in 1953. Is that when they initially opened, it was barred with sandbags and barbed wire. And guests had to enter through the backs because they didn't want police raiding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... I'm assuming that's why.
Yeah.
And if you look at a picture of the building of, I keep wanting to say Jean Lafitte, of Cafe Lafitte in Exile, it's not like it doesn't look like a fire safe building that you would want to bar the front door on. Let me tell you.
Okay, now let's say this: we got to give all respect to our tactical gays for protecting themselves with sandbags and barbed wire from the police in the 1950s.
Okay, look, I know.
And, okay, let me say this: I know what I just said sounded really bad. However,
look,
I also now have an idea about a new G.I. Joe line.
Yeah. Look, the LGBT community can throw down.
Oh no, because they have had to. Like, we know someone that's actually was at the Stonewall riot.
Now, through the 60s and 70s, the bar's reputation as a gay bar solidified, as it became a haven, especially for closeted men who wanted to explore the sexuality or wanted to kind of, just, get something on the side without having to worry about the pressures of other people or their wives or, their countrymen. Speaking of that, there's actually a captain of the Navy even sent a letter to the bar urging them not to serve servicemen due to the bar's reputation. Apparently they have the letter still on display in the bar. So
all I can hear now is the village people singing "In the Navy."
Yeah, that's a stereotype too.
Let's also be fair about the stereotype about the Navy. That was 100% started by the Army, who was waxing each other's cannons.
Like, look, and I say this in a positive way. Lots of gay shit happens in the military. Let's be real.
Okay, to further explore this, because right now we're about to be two very problematic elder millennials. Because we're going to get canceled by Gen Z or Gen Alpha, and Gen Alpha's feral. There's a lot of gay stuff everywhere, and it should have never been forced to be closeted.
Oh, of course.
Because let me say this, because of everything we've dealt with the last thing, and people out here saying lost because of this, lost because of that. 90% of America does not give two shits.
Oh yeah,
about if anybody is gay or straight. So my thing for anybody that is out there that might be closeted at this point and doesn't want to say anything, fly your flag, be who you are, have no fear. Because McDonald's is still going to sell you a sandwich, and I hate to say it. I hate to say it that way because it sounds kind of.
With the caveat here, if you're in a situation where coming out is going to hurt you in a way to make you homeless or lose your job, obviously, just consider that. But you shouldn't be ashamed of who you are.
Don't be ashamed of who you are. Be ready. Be strong.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people who will support you.
Fuck TERFs, fuck homophobes, transphobes, all that
also,
shit.
For any teens out there, there is the Trevor Project.
There is the Trevor Project. There's, I believe the ACLU has links to LGBTQ-friendly resources. God, look, this is a celebration of LGBTQ people.
We recorded 2 episodes tonight. This one is also deep, but on a different level.
Now, here's the thing. When I'm talking about this, and when we're talking about, they got this letter. The funniest thing about them getting the letter from the Navy is them proudly hanging it up.
Oh, dude, would you not?
Yeah, and they just served the Navy anyway.
Hey, sailor, I'm not supposed to give you this drink. But they said they said I couldn't serve you, so I'm going to give you this drink. But I really say a tip is $6.25.
Yeah. So, Kaplinger seemed to have the helm until his death, which was not only mourned by Cafe Lafitte in Exile, but all bars in New Orleans, which dimmed their lights on the day of his death, or the day of his funeral. It was kind of fuzzy on the details. But fun fact, I just want to say something. Grace Zabriskie, his daughter...
That is a hell of a name.
She is an accomplished actress. She actually played in Twin Peaks as Sarah Palmer. She's also in other David Lynch films, such as Inland Empire, Wild at Heart. She was also in Gone in 60 Seconds, The Dead Zone, and even starred in the video game The Quarry.
Wow.
And connecting to that, she actually knew, I believe, Tennessee Williams and Truman Capote, who were frequenters of Café Lafitte in Exile.
So this is the second time we've mentioned Tennessee Williams.
Yeah, the first time was in Lafitte's blacksmith shop.
No, actually third time, because also Montleon.
Yeah. So Tennessee Williams liked to go around there. Everything I've read about Tennessee Williams is that he was not an out and about gay man. Mm-hmm. But he hung around this spot. And
think about when he wrote.
Right. And Capote and all the other...
You mean Capote?
Capote. I don't know why I say Capote.
Capote. Because, you know what? Your version is fancier. I like it. I think he would have too.
Capote. I don't know. It sounds kind of country to me. Capote sounds right because it's Italian.
Dude, don't ask me how to pronounce anything. I've already gotten in trouble on the podcast twice for mispronouncing things.
Okay, we mispronounced Cresu like so many times. And then I was like, Jean Lafitte. In fact, I still try to do Jean Lafitte.
Yeah, I think you
Jean
said
Lafitte.
It's Jean Lafitte.
It's Jean Lafitte, yeah.
Jean.
I'm not Italian.
That's French.
Fuck. Shit. I'm not French. I'm Irish and Scottish. So, forgive me.
Bendejo.
Yeah, exactly. Get out of here. So, what about the ghosts?
Wait, do we got ghosts? See, like, up here, I thought you were telling me a wonderful story about a gay little bar that has wonderful drinks. And if anybody gets on to me, I don't care because I feel like that is a lovely description of this place that everybody should visit. But we have ghosts.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint, but I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a New Orleans haunted situation. Which, like, if you listen to the podcast, when we say New Orleans haunted, we mean mostly a tourist trap sort of haunted, which it's probably not haunted or not. There's not enough reasonable evidence to say, like, outside of, like, ghost tours that it's actually haunted. Now, ghost tours would have you to believe that celebrities such as Louis Armstrong or NOLA legends as John Lafitte or Mary Laveau would be there. They said, again, Tennessee Williams and Truman Capote are there. And you're supposed to see all these celebrities having a good time all around Café Lafitte in Exile. The only actual ghost that I saw pop up in any of my sources was one called Mr. Bubbles, who was supposed to play slap ass with the patrons every now and then. And I can only really think that is just a joke.
You know what? I love Mr. Bubbles McSlap ass.
Like that, like someone gets their ass slapped while they're drunk, and it's like, what the fuck is that? It's like, oh, it's Mr. Bubbles. They're just playing jokes on people.
What's bad is now I see Cobra Bubbles from Lilo and Stitch is the one who's... It's just Ving Rhames got two heaping handfuls.
Say, I'm Mr. Bubbles.
Yeah. I don't know what other response would be, man.
But there's not really anything else on the spooky side. However, if you're in New Orleans and you want a bit of not only New Orleans history, but LGBTQ history, this is the place to go.
You know what? I'm really glad you shared this bit of Obscura with me.
And here's the thing. Like when it comes to, like, I know that, like, people are, like, looking at the incoming administration if you're in the LGBTQ community, and you're not really thinking about travel. But if you need to get away, and if you need to go somewhere and just decompress, New Orleans is a gay fucking city. Like,
well, let's put it this way. Hey, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Stay strong, endure, fight the fight you've been fighting, and hey, get a drink at Lafitte and Exiles. And if Mr. Bubbles gives you a slap, tell him I did not consent and that was not cool, you asshole.
Yeah. It's like, dude, what the fuck? And then you get a lawsuit, and you can sue the ghost, and you get ghost dollars. I'm sorry, I don't know where I'm going.
So like we've been, you know what? This one's been kind of silly, and I think we kind of needed that as a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
And you know what? I know that this might not be everybody's cup of tea. This is not really cryptids, ghosts, but again, this is Obscura, at least to me.
Yeah.
You're
and if you ask any ghost tour in New Orleans, they're going to say Cafe Lafitte and Exile sign. They even said Jean Lafitte was there, which he has no actual footprint there.
Okay, let's be honest. Jean Lafitte is a completely sentient ghost about the entire United States. And,
yeah, he's supposed to be in Galveston, Texas as well.
He's supposed to be in South Carolina. You know what? I'm going to say this. He showed up at, like, when Coachella happened and fucking Tupac rose from the ground. Off to the side,
I remember that. Oh, my God.
Off to the side was Lafitte. That could have been me.
That could have been me.
That could have been me. And I would have been like, oh, Kuyan! Dude, this is an awesome story. Yeah. This is a place we have to go to.
And my sources are Wikipedia, LGBTQ Nation, Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, whereareyouat.com, Ambush Magazine, and New Orleans Ghost Tours. Thank you for listening. We are Backwoods Obscura. We release every Tuesday, and hopefully we'll have more social media presence. So far, I've been posting on Facebook, but we'll be on Blue Sky, maybe Threads. I don't know. Maybe Instagram. I don't know how to use Instagram. Anyway, we are also
Team Bonus Action, a charity live play video game and tabletop and online RPG group. Currently, we are partnered with Extra Life and Bastion Children's Hospital. So any donations you make to us between now and the end of 2024 will go to help parents pay for medical bills. And I know money is tight right now. 2024 has been a tough year for everybody. Yeah. Groceries are high, gas are high, and anxiety is high. But if you can help someone not have to choose between a Christmas gift for their child and paying for their surgery, it'd be one of the most amazing things you can do. Because we need to always pay it forward. And look, other people aren't going to do it, so we ourselves have to make tomorrow a better day for everybody. So if you can, please do.
And kids deserve to be able to have a chance.
They do. And you know what else? We love you.
Take care of yourself.
Be true to yourself. Trans rights.